Another big story this past weekend, a lot of people, including myself, were very much looking forward to the debut of Pietro Menga. Big star coming out of the UK as well, undefeated as well. He was going to make his UFC debut on just a couple of weeks' notice against Tim Elliott. Unfortunately, he did not get to the scale. Fortunately, he failed to make weight and the fight did not come to fruition. So wanted to talk to him about that. And so we'll welcome him now onto the show via the magic of Skype. There he is, Pietro Menga himself, stopping by. Unfortunately, we're meeting under these circumstances, Pietro, but I do appreciate you coming on the show here today. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, I really appreciate it. Yeah, it's great to be on the show for the first time.
By the way, most important question right off the bat, are you a fan of the Geordie Shore?
Do you know what? I've never seen an episode of Geordie Shore in my life. I'm not really in the house between 6, 8 o'clock when your TV programs are on. I'm usually in the gym, but I see what he's doing and I appreciate it. I respect it. The guy's going out there and fighting. You can't throw him under the bus. He's doing his thing. Everybody else would do the same thing, and he comes out banging. I seen his last fight. He comes out swinging.
That is right. Fair play to him, as they say overseas. Okay, so let's talk about your situation. First things first, like here we are Monday evening in the UK. How are you feeling? Because it sounded pretty scary. Kidney problems, couldn't make the weight. Physically, how are you feeling right now?
Full of jet lag, groggy, feel like crap. Kidneys I'm getting back pain. I'm getting lower back pain. It's moving around my back, but I don't really want to, I don't want to bring it out too much. So I don't really want to blame it on that and blame it on illness and stuff. But yeah, I've got a few things going on. I was in the doctor's today having a few checks, and I'll see where that goes. But hopefully it's something or nothing. I feel like shit in the sense of I wanted to make that walk and I wanted to make the fight. All the other things are secondary to me at the minute, and they shouldn't be, the health. But the most important thing to me was making that walk and meeting him in the middle of the octagon and fighting.
So when you accepted this fight just a couple of weeks ago, short notice fight against a very tough competitor at 125 pounds, Tim Elliott, how much did you weigh when you accepted the fight?
I was around the morning I was around 152, and then I took on some food obviously throughout the day, and it was quite a late email that I received. So I was between 152 and 155. So but obviously I was working to gain weight for a couple of weeks prior to that, just for the Ultimate Fighter at 145. I'd already applied. I sent my application forms off. My tickets were booked. My visa was done. I was flying out on the following Tuesday to do the trials. So that was why the scales were a little bit top heavy.
And from what I understand, you were enjoying a succulent steak when you got the call, right? Or at least the email that you'd be making, right?
Yeah. Doesn't seem so succulent anymore, but at the time it was juice. Oh, it was medium rare. It was perfect. It was amazing.
So did you say, look, I'm about to try out for this show. I'm trying to add, some muscle here. I'm trying to go to 145. Why take that? Like, this is not the introduction that I want on short notice to cut this weight. Did you have any kind of pause and rethink this?
Not really. It's the opportunity of a lifetime. It's something that I feel like I've warranted for a few years, and for whatever reason, there's only been short notice fights on the table for the division. In the past, I've been offered one. I was injured. Then I was offered one for New Zealand, and actually Tim Elliott got that fight because we was a little bit slow getting it wrapped up. And then this time, I'm like, look, I'm not going to get this opportunity again. I don't want the UFC thinking I'm playing games here and I'm waiting for everything to fall into place for me. It's a fight. If this is my only way in, I'm gonna dogfight it, and I'm gonna find a way to get into that cage. And unfortunately, I fell at the last hurdle, but that was my mind frame going in. It was like, look, forget about tough. That's. I was only going down the route of tough to get in at 125 eventually anyway. I was going to fight my way through the house and earn a contract at 125, then look to run through that division. Where I find myself now is a little bit in limbo. I got offered the fight, and it was like, listen, I'm dropping everything, and I'm going to give it 100%. There's obviously a lot of weight to drop. The situation wasn't ideal, but I didn't want to turn down the opportunity of a lifetime.
When did you start to get worried that it might be a tougher cut than expected, that you may not make the weight?
Honestly, the Wednesday, right up until the Wednesday, it was falling off because I was fasting. I was light cardio. The food intake was low. The water was high. I was worried all the way through it, but the closer I was getting, the more confident I was getting. And then I made a few misjudgments on the Wednesday. Overtrained, got a little bit. My feet got a little bit itchy. Felt a little bit too fresh. Woke up Thursday morning. I was in a world of pain. The weight hadn't budged much, and I was And then an alarm bell started to ring, and I'm thinking this is going to be much more brutal than I first anticipated.
Okay, and so then you start to have that. Is this the toughest cut? I mean, have you ever experienced anything as difficult as this?
No, I mean, I thought my last fight was on Bellator. I weighed in at 124.5. I did 3 pound in the sauna on a sweat. I turned up fight week at 128, 129 point something. I prepared properly, but that's when I've got a bit of notice, and I've got a training camp that I can go through. I dot the T's, I dot the I's, I cross the T's. I make sure I'm on point. I'm a professional. I always come in on point, and I come in shape. And this time, I think I just asked a little bit too much of my body, and I've only got myself to blame.
So from what I heard, you got down to 131, correct?
Yeah, 131. Yeah, I was 134 the morning. I started the cut the night before because I was panicking. I was like, we're gonna have to start early. Started the night before, got a couple of pound off, getting stomach cramps, getting pains. Had to stop. Went at it again in the morning. Got to 131 and borderline collapsing on the floor. I couldn't really. The doctor came and he basically said, you can't. We can't let you do this. And I really appreciate the support and the professionalism from the UFC medical team, because I hate to think what I would have been trying to attempt. There was no quitting me. I wasn't being that guy that a couple of days before the fight he gets sick or he gets the flu. I was going out on my shield. No one was stopping me make that weight. And when he came in and I seen him and he did some checks and tests, I could just see it in his face. He was worried, and he made sure it stopped there.
Did you ever pass out?
I can't really remember, to be honest.
Wow.
I can't really remember. I didn't know that my team also alerted. As soon as my team alerted the UFC officials, they was on it straight away. Obviously, I was trying to sway them not to, but they've also got my best interest at heart, and it's a bit of a torn situation for them because they want me to make the fight, and I wanted it more than anything in the world, but they didn't want to see me suffer with health problems and potential long-term problems, which I'm hoping that I've managed to avoid thanks to my team and the UFC medical team.
Do you remember when they told you the fight was being canceled? And if so, do you remember how you felt?
Yeah, I was trying to sneak back in the bath to cut some more weight. The UFC doctor was in the room, and the phone rang, and I kind of stopped, and I was like, just get a little bit more off. And he was like, hey, Pietro, you're done, man. The fight's off. He's not taking the fight. And I was like, he was like, come here, we need to sit you down. We've got a process to do now. Some medical checks, rehydrate you slowly. He's not taking the fight. At first, we got told that if you're 131, if you're 5 pound over the 126 limit, the fight can happen. So it was like, okay. I was checking my weight, kind of sneaking around the bathroom, trying to figure something out. And then the phone rang again, and it was the doctor. He said, hey, Pietro, Tim Elliott's just refused to take the fight at a catch weight. Don't take another step. You're done. And I just broke down. I was devastated. I was in tears. I can't really remember. It's very blurry, the whole phase of events. But from what I remember, I was just absolutely devastated.
Do you blame
fall at the final hurdle?
Right. Do you blame Tim Elliott for not accepting the fight?
No, he's his own man. He makes his decisions. I don't blame him at all. He's got his own reasons. I respect him as a fighter. He came in on point. He did what he had to do. The only thing I don't like is the way he's carried himself after. I said it all, as soon as I came round, it took me a couple of hours. I said, it's not his fault. It's not on him. It's on me. I took the fight. I said I could make the weight. I take full responsibility for it. But what I don't like is the way he's trying to throw the UFC under the bus. And they sourced him a new opponent, a credible opponent. They tried to do everything in their power to make the fight happen for him. And not only that, when the fight got announced, there seems to be crazy hype about it, which was brilliant for the both of us. He's going on now saying Joe Benavidez told him this, told him I'm an easy fight. He only fights for money, but then he got offered the 30% purse. He didn't want it. He didn't even try and negotiate, and saying the UFC should pay him this, should pay him that. I just don't like the way he's carrying himself, complaining. He did have the opportunity to take the fight if he wanted. In his opinion, his team's opinion, it was the wrong thing to do. I respect that, but then draw the line there. Let's leave it at that. Let's see one day down the line if we bump into each other, in the cage. But don't start throwing all these excuses out why you deserve this and why you deserve that. I couldn't even stand up. Don't tell me you didn't have it in yourself that you thought you could beat a man that couldn't even stand up straight. Come on, I just don't like the way he's been carrying himself since the chain of events. In a way, is it a blessing that he said no to the fight, considering the state that you were in? Yeah, most certainly. I don't think the fight would. I'm a realist. I don't think the fight would have gone well for me. Right up until fight week, I'm thinking, I'm probably going to put this kid away. He's giving me a full camp and I'm finishing inside a round. I truly, honestly believe inside a round I finished with the holes in his game and the mistakes he makes and the misjudgments and the miscues from the first bell he makes. I believe I finished the fight. Stylistically, it's perfect for me. But under these circumstances, I was prepared for a dogfight, a war. When I woke up Friday morning, cutting weight, I kind of had a word with myself and thought, you're gonna get beaten up in this fight. But I'd have gone in there, my heart on my sleeve, thrown down, and give it everything I got, and it would have been one way or the other. I would have introduced myself to the UFC and gone on from there.
If you were in his shoes, would you have accepted the fight against you, who's 5 pounds over? Would you have done it?
I mean, I'm new to the UFC, so I don't have the same casual kind of persona that he puts across. I know he's not happy in the UFC anyway. He's been saying for years that I've seen stuff in the past. He's not happy with this. He feels like he's been screwed over here, screwed over there. He's got a family to feed. He's got kids to feed, and he's not being paid enough. Well, I'm sure he can always go and fight somewhere else. I personally, if you're in the UFC, you don't say no to a fight. I didn't say no to trying to make that weight. There was no stopping me. I would have gone out stupidly. I would have gone out and pushed it as far as I could. But within 5 seconds, boom, no, I'm not fighting that guy. And that's entirely up to him. No one's blaming him. He's not at fault. He made the weight. He came in and made the weight. It's just the series of events after that. I personally would have took the fight.
I will say this. I have felt for quite some time that if you make weight and the fight doesn't come to fruition, that there should be a case to be made for not only the show money, but the win money as well. And it should probably be put in writing because the UFC doesn't have to do it. But look, the money was already allocated. They're not losing out on ticket sales or anything like that. It's not a main event fight, so people can refund. They were going to give it to someone. I do think he has a point that it would be nice if they did that. Now, it's not in writing. Your fault for not putting it in writing. But I don't think that's the craziest idea of all time.
No, it's not. No, it's not. It's not. I mean, it's fair.
You didn't get paid, right?
He wanted the win bone. He wanted his. I didn't get paid at being. I'm at a minus. I lost money. I paid for my medicals. I've not asked any of my sponsors for a penny, and I don't plan on doing so. I'll take full responsibility for this. He got paid. He didn't get paid as much as he feels he should have got paid, and I appreciate what he's saying. I just don't appreciate the way he's carried himself as a professional athlete. He should be representing the sport and the company in a better light. I just don't appreciate the way he's been speaking about the whole situation, coming out of all these reasons why he'd have won and he should get this, and you should get a little bit more, but it is what it is.
Have you been assured another opportunity in the UFC?
No, not yet. I've not spoke with the UFC. I just apologised and made my case, and I'll be ready. I'll be ready for whatever comes, whatever opportunity or whatever fight they feel that I'm still under contract. Whatever they feel that's right for me, then I would love another opportunity to prove my worth and just show. That's why I was willing to go in there feeling like I was, because even if I shown 10% of what I can do in a fight, the fans would have loved it. They would know that I'll bring eyes to this division. I'll bring attention to this division, a division that nobody wants to watch. I'll come in and I'll light this division up, and that was my intentions wholeheartedly on Saturday night.
Did you have any FaceTime?
It didn't go ahead.
Did you have any FaceTime with McMahon, who's the matchmaker for the division?
Yeah.
Was he understanding?
I spoke to him and I just told him, I was just honest and told him from the heart how I would never have took the fight and wasted everybody's time if I didn't think I would make the weight. I just didn't judge my body correctly. Things happened, and I also told him I didn't want to be that guy that started coming out with the illnesses, excuses, and this and that. So I just kept pushing, and before I knew it, the fight was declined at a catch weight, and the fight was pulled. I told him that, and hopefully, he's seen it's sincere, and I come to fight. I told him that before he even mentioned an opponent. He's like, "Can you make weight?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm coming to fight." Things went from there.
Is it safe to say you'll never take a fight on this short notice again?
Yeah, it is, but at the same time, in the context, I walk around usually 145, and I think walking around at 145, I'd make 125 on the nose. I walk around in camp 62. I don't like to walk around too heavy. I've trained abroad with Alpha Male and over with Mark Henry and Frankie, and I've seen some big flyweights bigger than me. I don't personally like to cut a lot. I've never trusted my body to cut a lot, as at the weekend shown. right in not trying to cut loads of weight. And I walk around 62, 63, 64 tops in camp, and I can walk around comfortably at 145 out of camp. What I was trying to do was, I felt like I was frustrated, and I'd emailed McMahon in September, look, I'm ready to go. I didn't hear anything back. I seen the tough trials, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to grow a set of balls, and I'm going to go in 2 weight classes up and just see what I can do. But the first thing was getting past the trials. Now, if I go in there 145, walking around, they're going to look at me and they're going to be like, man, you're too small, you're too light, you can't come in this house this weight. So the agenda was put a little bit of weight on. It was uncomfortable. I didn't enjoy training at 150s. Go in the house, get through the trials, then I can walk around at the weight I feel best fighting at, because I'm going to be fighting regular anyway. In this week to 2 weeks, I get an email for the opportunity I've been waiting for the last 3 years of a fight at 125. I couldn't turn that down. I couldn't say no to that.
No, I understand.
I just couldn't do it. I couldn't live with myself knowing that I've got no regrets. I gave it everything. Gave it absolutely everything.
What was that flight? I mean,
from here,
going from Winnipeg back home to England, what was that flight like?
It was uncomfortable with Tim Elliot sat 2 rows behind. And
come on, really?
You know, we're both on the same flight.
Oh my God!
You know, I've not. He didn't say shit. I've not tweeted him anything. I've not said nothing to him. I've got nothing to say to him. And you know, if he put it on me and it came up, and we would have words, but he didn't. And I know he's talking all this shit online. I mean, like, that's what I respect about him is he's not fake. He doesn't try to pretend he's something he's not. If he's got something to say, he says it. But then the last couple of days, he had so much shit to say. I walked past him in the airport. He didn't say shit. Wow. I was sat 2 rows. He sat 2 rows behind me on the plane. He could have just given me a tap and gone, "What's up? What's the score? Why are you taking this fight? Why are you wasting my time?" And then we could go from there. But you know, I've got nothing to say to the guy. And when I seen him face to face, I had nothing to say. But you know, I thought he might have a bit of a set of balls and maybe give me his peace of mind. I'd respect that.
Is that the dream fight now? Do you want to settle the score with him?
Oh, me and him have been talking for years. I used to tear him to pieces on Twitter years ago when I wasn't in the UFC, but I didn't take it too serious because, you know, I weren't in the UFC. There was no chance of that fight really happening. I was under contract with Bellator. He just won the Ultimate Fighter. I was like, man, you can't talk your way out of a paper bag. You need to go and learn some. You need to learn some social media skills and learn how to come across properly. And we had a bit of backwards and forth. So it was always on the radar. So I was actually when I seen his name getting mentioned, stylistically perfect for me. He would walk straight into all my traps. You can't talk himself out of a paper bag. And I just think that it's a guy who's high up in the division. He's managed to beat other guys and go the distance with the champion. So it was a win-win for me, and it was a lose-lose for him. Hence why I think when the catch weight and the heavens opened up that this fight could get called off, he was like, "I'm taking my money, I'm running, and I'm going to fight again next month and make more money."
Right.
That's honestly what I believe. And obviously, in the meantime, any other bonuses, the purse, you know, the win bonus or any other compensation he can get, he's going to go hunting for, because apparently he can't put food on the table for his daughter, his children. So he's been tweeting.
Would you like to be on that card in London? Things. Would that be another dream?
Oh yeah. Oh, that would be a huge. My plan was to come here on short notice, do what I can do, entertain the fans in London, and really show what high level flyweight mixed martial arts looks like. And that is the dream. Anybody, I don't think it'll be Tim Elliot. I think, to be honest, me and him have got a nice little rivalry building now. Something the division needs. The champion ain't saying shit. He don't speak. He just plays on his Xbox. And we've got Tim Elliot talking shit now, and then I'm here. So I mean, there's no British flyweights, there's no European flyweights, there's no Manchester fighters now that Michael Bisping's about to fight and retire. If they all want to hate me, like they all hate Michael Bisping, I'll come into this division and one by one, I'll knock every one of them over. That's absolutely fine. I'll go through the lot of them. I've sparred the top flyweights. I've trained with the top flyweights. It's nothing new to me. What's new to them is that I can wrestle like fuck, and they just don't realize that yet. So,
it's interesting. I was told that you're confident, that you're brash, all this stuff. We started this interview and you were somewhat subdued, obviously, because it wasn't the best of circumstances. Now here's the brashness coming out. Now it's coming out. The Italiano is coming out. You know, I'm just gonna be myself. Obviously, I'm taking responsibility. I don't want to take the light away from that, and I'm not making excuses. I'm a man, and I'll take whatever rap I have to take for this. And I'm at fault. That's the bottom line. I said I could make the weight. I said I could make the fight, and for whatever reason, I'm not blaming illnesses and blaming collapsing trying to make weight. Then in that case, like Tim said, then he shouldn't have took the fight. But you ask any other man who's got the biggest opportunity of his career. I've been training since martial arts since I was 6 years old. It's not so much cockiness; it's more just passion.
I'm so passionate about this, and I'm so frustrated seeing these half-wit flyweights exchanging positions, making mistakes left, right, and centre. And I'm thinking, God, put me in there and just let me finish a couple of these and draw some attention to this division.
Pietro, I wish you the best, man. I know it didn't go your way, and I was really looking forward to your debut. But I'm happy to hear that you're feeling better. Hopefully, you make a full recovery, and that we get to see your real debut on a little more notice. You get some time to prepare, do things the right way, and then we get to see what you can do in this flyweight division, because I know a lot of fans were really excited and buzzing about what was to come in Winnipeg. Yeah. So thanks for the time after a long journey home. Appreciate it. Yes, go ahead.
Before I go, I just want to say, regardless of everything that's happened this weekend, I just want to send my thoughts and prayers out to Tim Elliot and his team, because I know they've had some bad news recently with his coach. So I just want to, it's a sport at the end of the day. I just want to wish him, best, and send my thoughts and prayers out to him, his family, and all his team out there in Vegas.
Well done, my friend. Thank you very much, and we'll talk soon. Thank you so much for coming on the show.